Welcome back. I am super excited for yet another episode of Limitless. I'm your host, Derrick Grissom, and here we are again. As you know, this podcast is a way of disseminating positive, valuable information throughout the community, and I am just excited because today we have a very important person in my midst, a very important person within the Metro Atlanta area. He is none other than Chairman Nesbitt of Rockdale County, Conyers. Let me just tell you right now, the reason I am excited is because Rockdale County is real dear to me. Rockdale County is where I bought my very first home at the age of 25 out there in Rockdale County. So I'm very connected to Rockdale, but more than that, I do a lot of business in Rockdale in my corporate job. So I'm very familiar with the county government, city government, and leaders of Rockdale County. I am super excited because if you're going to have somebody come out and do an episode, you have to have the Chairman Nesbitt here to talk about the great things that's happening out there. And I'm going to let the chairman speak and kind of introduce himself, and then we're going to get into some questions just so you can get an opportunity to see why I'm so excited that he is on today's episode. So Chairman, stop to us.
Derrick, first of all, let me say congratulations to you. I'm super excited about the things that you're doing and all of the wonderful strides that you're making. And yes, we're glad that you can call Rockdale County somewhat of your part-time or semi-home, or you got your start there with your first home a few years ago. But we're really proud of the work that you're doing and the fact that your corporate business on a day-to-day basis make the lives of all the residents of Rockdale a whole lot better moving forward in the area of technology. I'm Chairman Nesbitt. I serve as the chairman and the CEO of Rockdale County. You know, there's two counties in the state of Georgia that has a CEO form of government, DeKalb County and Rockdale County. I don't go under the title of CEO. I simply use the title of chairman. However, there's no county manager or county administrator. I am that. I'm both the chairman and the county manager wrapped up in one. 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. I'm moving and shaking in Rockdale County, making sure that we keep our residents safe and that we provide the level of services that all of our residents need in order to continue to move Rockdale County forward. And I'll tell you, it's been an honor and a pleasure to even meet you and to be a part of this wonderful podcast. You're getting out some good information, and you're taking podcasts to a whole different levels, Derrick. You're always doing something. Your energy, your chemistry is just way above most people's imagination. We're just so delighted to be a part of it.
Well, I appreciate that, Chairman, and I will tell you today, if you don't know about Rockdale County, you're going to know that after today, because Rockdale has a lot of the good things going on. A lot of people don't realize that even though it's about 20, 25 minutes east of Atlanta, it is it's a powerhouse. It's a powerhouse on the business side. It's a powerhouse on the residential side. And if you don't mind, give us an overview of the county from your perspective, because it's a bad county. I want the people to know about it.
Well, I often say at the end of a lot of my messages, so at the beginning I'm going to say that there's only two kind of people: those that live in Rockdale County and those that wish they lived in Rockdale County. And the reason I say that, for several reasons. We have a wonderful dynamic of residents that live in Rockdale County, a very diverse demographic. We are 25 minutes from downtown Atlanta, about 30 minutes from Hartsfield-Jackson Airport. We're a good 45 to 50 minutes from the University of Georgia, an hour and 30 whole minutes from Augusta, on the I-20 corridor, on the eastern I-20 corridor of Metro Atlanta. Rockdale County is one of the 11 counties that make up the metropolitan Atlanta area, the Atlanta Regional Commission. I serve along with two other commissioners, Commissioner Post 1, Sherry Washington, and Commissioner Post 2, Dr. Doreen Williams. They are also the two commissioners that serve along with me to make sure that we're taking care of the folks in Rockdale County. One of our greatest assets outside of our people and our human capital is the fact that we have our own water reservoir. That's a major thing. And I'm mentioning that because when companies think about setting up shop in Rockdale County from an economic development standpoint or moving into our demographic, that's a plus to know that we have our own reservoir, we have a lot of control, and all of the control, should I say, as it relates to our water resources. So that's a big, big deal. We employ about 1,000 county employees between the sheriff's office, the fire department, and all the other county government departments and divisions that serve the people of Rockdale County. In Rockdale, there's only one city, the City of Conyers. That gives me another little part to boast about because I have a wonderful relationship with the mayor. Vince Evans is our mayor of the City of Conyers, and the city manager, Mr. Tony Lucas. We share a similar background. We both were in law enforcement for a number of years, and we have a really good, fluid relationship throughout the pandemic. That relationship was put on display. But I tell you, Rockdale County has so many wonderful things to offer. Our Parks and Rec department, the Monastery of the Holy Spirit is out in Rockdale County. And I tell you, we are just one of the most safest communities still in the metro area, and we're proud of that.
And I will also tell you, to everything you just said, I can attest to. But there is a large portion of Metro Atlanta actual residents that work out in Rockdale County. So there are people who commute from the city of Atlanta to job opportunities in Rockdale County. But in addition to that, there are people who are moving to Rockdale County because as much as we talk about the expense of Atlanta and how expensive it is, Rockdale County is still reasonable, even though inflation is high. There are those who live in Atlanta and they go on out to Rockdale County because in the city of Atlanta, it might cost $2,500. It may cost you $1,400, $1,500 in Rockdale, but that's still better than living in the city. What to elaborate on it?
Well, but Derek, you're absolutely correct. So a good number of people are still looking for lots of land where they can grow their families and have time with their grandchildren. People like green space. They like open spaces. In Rockdale County, you can still purchase a home. You can get an acre or acre and a half, sometimes even a 3 to 5 acre lot, depending on how big a space you want. But it's an area where it's not so congested. Mm-hmm. We do have major thoroughways where there's a good bit of traffic here and there. During the peak hours, folks are headed out to work or returning home in the afternoon. And we have major shopping center outlets that sometimes get a little congested. But for the most part, the layout of the land, the layout of Rockdale County, being the second smallest county geographically in the state, gives us a lot of advantages in terms of how we like to say that we're perfectly positioned along the I-20 corridor so you can get to all of those places. But being also a community where the chairman of the county and the mayor works well together. We have the city police department, the city police chief, and the sheriff. They grew up as kids in the community. This is a very close-knit community. You can touch your leadership now in Rockdale County. You being a native of Atlanta, you remember the stories about Rockdale County. And things have completely changed. 98% of the leadership in all of Rockdale County is African American. The demographical shift from the mid-2000s to where we are now in 2023, Rockdale County is a 70-30 split, 70 African American, 30 Caucasian. Now, what that really tells you that things have changed, the community has evolved over time. But what it really means is that people are discovering Rockdale County and discovering that it's less congested, safe community, close-knit community, a beautiful place to raise your family and to start a business.
And a lot of hidden gems. I have gone around from Costly Mills Park to some of the other parks and recreations out there. I did not know. And I know I've been away from Rockdale County for some years now, but I did not know of all of the hidden gems and parks and recreations out there. But before we continue, because I have a few other things I want to touch on, let's talk about the man behind the chairmanship of Rockdale County. Let's talk about Brother Oz and exactly your upbringing and you as a person.
Yes, sir.
And not just chairman. Talk to us.
Well, I'm originally from Augusta, Georgia, and I'm a proud product of public housing. And I like to say it that way because oftentimes when people hear or talk about coming from public housing, sometimes folks get a different spin on that. Well, I come from a place called Sunset Homes, and a very a proud product of public housing. A lot of very productive people who have gone to do some wonderful things all across this land and across this country have come out of Augusta and out of Sunset Homes. You know, Augusta is the home of the late great godfather of soul, James Brown. Mm-hmm. A lot of folks know Augusta from the most major and prestigious golf tournament, the Augusta Masters tournament at the Augusta National. Growing up in Augusta, when I left high school, I immediately joined the sheriff's office. In fact, I was literally a kid. I was 18 years old and immediately 150 pounds. Lord, if I can just get that 29 waist back one more time. But after high school, I spent the following 15 years of my young adult life as a Richmond County Sheriff's deputy in law enforcement. Having an opportunity to grow up, and of course, with a job like that at such a young age, you grow up real fast. I'm a church boy. Grew up in the church, active in the community. I was raised by three very strong women, my mother, my grandmother, and my Aunt Mattie. Had a wonderful relationship with my father. A lot of my work ethic comes from my father. So I believe that you ought to be able to serve your community, represent yourself, and represent your family. I believe that life is about sharing and giving. If you spend all this time that God has given us and you've not given back or blessed anybody else or had an opportunity to pay it forward for those people who've been a blessing to you, then you wasted a lot of time. So I tell you, my background starts at home in Augusta. I went to a small college in Denmark, South Carolina called Voorhees. Go Tigers. And there's a lot of Voorhees folks here in the metro Atlanta area. My focus was on organizational management and political science. I like to tell people that I've been in the people business for about 38 years. I spent time, again, in law enforcement, auto sales, worked in public education for quite some time, and been in the people business, as you know it, with Rockdale County since my first election was won in the summer of 2008.
Wow. So let's transition to that for your first election. Talk to us about the transition from 2008 to now and some of the accomplishments that you've been able to achieve during that time, because you don't just get reelected these days. You got to be doing something right. So let's talk about that.
Well, let's talk about that first election. I'll tell you, I can clearly remember the summer of 2008. I always had an appetite for community service at the level of an elected official, okay? But just didn't think that the time was right for me. At that time, I was still in auto sales in the car business. And although I was flattered when I was asked and approached about getting into and putting my name in the hat, I just didn't think the time was right financially for me. We launched a campaign on a $0 budget. A lot of sweat equity, attitude is everything. That's my life motto. Attitude is everything. If you could really believe in yourself and have that level of self-determination about moving forward, you can do just about anything you need to do. Having the ability to be able to galvanize people, to effectively communicate, Derrick, and be able to bring people together and package up a product. In other words, speaking with a level of substance that people can buy into what you're saying. It's authentic and genuine. They know that your heart and your passion is there for the community. People will support. That's exactly what happened with us in 2008. We started with a $0. We got out. We was able to raise a few dollars, create a few yard signs, get into office, took office in 2009, was sworn in, served 8 years, 2 4-year terms as a regular commissioner in the community. I wasn't the chairman at that time. So my focus was really with civic engagement, community involvement, building a base of people responding to the everyday need. I tell you, when I think about the senior citizens in Rockdale County, and I think about the young people, having already worked in the public schools in Rockdale County, with Rockdale County High School, I served as the ISS coach, the in-school suspension instructor, and I coached ninth grade basketball. That gave me somewhat of an advantage because I was able to already build rapport and relationship with students and parents and community alike. From that point on, we continue to work hard in the community. I believe in being tangible and touchable, being responsive and accessible to the people. Oftentimes, you've heard so many stories about public officials or elected officials who, once they get your vote, you don't see them, you don't hear from them anymore. That's not us, Nesbitt. I love people, genuinely love them, and there's nothing I can do about it either. And I believe that to whom much is given, much is really required. So we've just been able to build relationships, build rapport, partner with the people in the community, be accessible, be responsive, and be genuine and authentic about our level of service. If you can't do something, tell people what you can't do. But I always like to focus on the can, C-A-N, versus on the can't. And I believe that if we don't have it immediately, we have access to resources and people and talent that can help us do what we're trying to do to take care of the people. All politics is local. I'm not a politician. I'm a public servant.
And I can appreciate that. 8 years as on the commission team, 4 years as the chairman.
Right. So I'm in my second 4-year term right now. Currently, this is my second 4-year term as the chairman and CEO of Rockdale County. Very humble and very appreciative to be able and honored to serve the people of Rockdale County. Very humble and appreciative to have the level of support in the community. And I do believe that's because we've been genuine. We've been authentic. We've been real. We've been responsive. We've been raw, and we've been relevant to the people and the issues that's going on in the streets. People in Rockdale will tell you, they don't only see Oz Nesbitt when it's election time.
That's right.
I'm in the churches. I'm in the schools. I'm at your backyard barbecue. I'm at your mom's event or retirement program. We're trying to do everything we can to be present for the people of Rockdale County and to highlight all of those what we call praise moments and tell the good news and share the good stories about the wonderful things that are happening in Rockdale County. So I'm on my second term as the chairman. We're getting geared up for our third run as chairman and CEO of Rockdale.
And I want to talk about that because you hit on something that's very important in government, and that is the synergy that must take place between city and county government. I have seen firsthand. I can attest to. So this is not a politician just saying it. I know for a fact that the city and the county government work very well together, and that's why things are able to move more smoothly out in Rockdale than in other areas in the Metro Atlanta area. Talk to us about your bid to serve another 4 years, because if things are going right and things are getting better, why change it? And I think you should take some time to talk about why we should not change that.
Well, I appreciate that, and I think it's important to understand that you should never change the horse in the middle of the race. And we are in the middle of the race, and we can also see the finish line. And let me talk about the finish line, Derrick.
Okay.
We have several projects right now that's in queue. It's so important that these projects are completed, and those who initiated and originated these projects, myself and my staff, that we see these completely through to fruition. We have to go from A to Z to make sure that these projects are completed. Not just that, Rockdale County is not for sale. Rockdale County doesn't have time for an experiment. That's right. You've got to have proven leadership, someone at the wheel, at the helm, who understands the people, who has their finger on the pulse of the people in the community, and know these projects. We have some really big ticket projects in Rockdale County right now. Infrastructure projects, community projects that are going to move our community forward. The biggest project of all time is our government courthouse, the Judicial Center in Rockdale County. We've not had a courthouse built in Rockdale County. In fact, let me just give it to you this way. The original structure of the Rockdale County Courthouse was built between 1936 and 1939. That tells you right there. This is a 100-year project. It's going to change the dynamics of our community, it will become the true epic center of the City of Conyers and Rockdale County. So it's important that we see these projects all the way through, and we have the opportunity to make sure that what we've started does not fall by the wayside or get altered in any degree. Absolutely.
I love that. For those who are listening, they may not know all of the structure and the politics of Rockdale County, but you're going to have people who are listening. They might live in Seattle, they may live in New York, and they're planning to move to the metro Atlanta area. Give a shout out to why Rockdale County should be considered.
Well, the number one reason why Rockdale County should be considered, because you have a chairman that's tangible and touchable. You have a chairman. I believe that 3 out of every 5 residents, I really believe this, 3 out of every 5 residents in Rockdale County have my cell phone number, and they know to text me. In fact, I'm going to give it to you right now, right here on air, because we want to make sure that we continue to be accessible and responsible. That number is, the best way to reach me is to text me. If you call me, you're going to be cussing. Text me at 770-624-9446. For real, and that's right, it is my number, 770-624-9446. Now, listen, if you're really trying to schedule me to come out and talk with you, or you want to schedule some time to present something to me in my office or to book me, you understand, Derrick, I got a really robust schedule. It's crazy busy. I have an executive assistant, Miss Andrea Lee. She is the absolute best. Her direct number is 770-278-7003. Again, that number is 770-278-7003. Miss Lee is my executive assistant inside the office of the chairman. Another good reason to come to Rockdale, I mentioned one of our most valuable assets. We have our own water source, our own water reservoir. That's right, it's a 600-plus acre lake full of water that can make sure that we provide for the community and the county in which we serve. Then we have a very talented workforce of people. We're accessible to I-20. We're just 25 minutes from downtown Atlanta, 30 minutes from the biggest airport in the world, Hartsfield-Jackson, an hour and 30 minutes from Augusta, and we about 45 to 50 minutes to the University of Georgia. We are perfectly positioned and centrally located along the I-20, the eastern I-20 corridor. But the relationship you mentioned between the chairman's office and the mayor's office, and it doesn't stop there. Wonderful relationship with our sheriff, wonderful relationship with the city police chief, wonderful relationship with the superintendent of schools and the CEO of the Piedmont Rockdale Hospital located in Rockdale County. Because of our size of our community, it allows us to fluidly on almost a weekly basis to interact and to gel very well together and communicate about those things that are pressing and those things that are important to the people around. If you're thinking about Rockdale County, no matter where you are out there, I ask that you send me a text message, call my office, set up a meeting. Let's set up a Zoom meeting. If you're across the mile somewhere, we can meet over the internet. Technology allows us to do that. And then we'll look forward to meet. I'm old school because I'd rather spend some time meeting you in my office when you come to town or you come to Rockdale County. Let's get in my vehicle. Let's take a tour. Let me show you what Rockdale really looks like.
And let me tell you, I don't want my audience to miss this. Just pause right now. When was the last time, I dare say, when was the first time a politician on public TV gave his cell phone number and the assistant's number and said, try me, text me, and see what happens? That does not happen often. That lets me know you brazenly stand on everything you said. And we can appreciate that here at Limitless. To that point, do you have any, well, I actually want to make up one other point. The connection and the synergy between you and the other city individuals. You talked about the city, the superintendent, the school district, the other government entities in Rockdale County. That does not happen often. So if you're asking, is Derrick a proponent of Rockdale County? I'm a proponent of Rockdale County.
And we appreciate that.
Absolutely. Chairman, give us some closing remarks on what you want the people to know. I'm very excited about your re-election campaign. I believe in your election. I believe in your campaign and what you're trying to do. So you have a supporter here. But talk to the people in closing remarks again on how they can be connected to you in trying to get this over the finish line, and it will happen, but tell them how they can help.
I do appreciate that, and we certainly do appreciate your support. I will tell you this upcoming election, I will be making my announcement on April 1st. We're making our announcement on April 1st for our third run as the chairman and CEO of Rockdale County. This third election is definitely not about me. It's not about Oz Nesbitt. It's more about the people of Rockdale County and continue with the continuity and making sure that the things that we put in place stay in place and that we reach our goal and make it to the finish line. Right now, as I mentioned earlier, you should never take the horse out of the race in the middle of the race. Rockdale County is not for sale, and we can't experiment with the leadership of Rockdale County. What you're going to get is leadership that is proven, someone that knows the people, someone that's accessible and responsive to the people of Rockdale County. I've been in every aspect of our community, where it's finding people jobs, responding to their needs, making house calls, giving up my own number. This is something that we just didn't start. We've been doing this from the very beginning. I want to encourage folks to go to Oz Nesbitt, friendsofoz.com. That's right. friendsofoznesbitt.com is our website, and you'll learn more about our campaign efforts at friendsofoznesbitt.com. And we encourage you to come out on April 1st and be a part of our campaign kickoff and celebration. I do want to close with what I started with, and there's only two kinds of people: those that live in Rockdale County and those that wish they lived in Rockdale County.
Thank you, Chairman Oz. First of all, I appreciate you for taking the time out of your very busy schedule to come and be on our podcast. Limitless is all about adding value to the lives of others. The fact that the chairman talked about how he grew up in public housing, the fact that the chairman talked about how he didn't have it easy, but guess what? He was limitless in his mindset. He understands my motto that your potential is limitless. And as a result, he went from public housing to CEO of a county, and he's doing a great job and want to continue that. So again, thank you. For the audience, this is yet another episode. I told you, we're bringing it here. I want you to walk away feeling more empowered for listening to this podcast. It's not just about entertainment, it's about education. And that's what Limitless is all about. If you have not purchased my book, Limitless, yet, go to mylimitlessgrowth.com, mylimitlessgrowth.com. You can go to my website and purchase it there. You can go to Amazon and purchase it there. And if you go to Amazon and purchase it and you like it, and I know you're going to like it, make sure you leave a review. You may be looking at me and saying, hey, I really don't need motivation. I don't need inspiration because I have it all together. And I know you're out there, but guess what? You know somebody that don't. So why don't you get the book for them and make sure that they are motivated and they are inspired to be the best of their abilities and the best version of themselves. Thank you. And until the next time, have a good one.
Really